Hello survivors, welcome back to another Soulstone survivor video. Zero to Hero episode 3 is here today, and what we've done is I actually behind the scenes just went and did up to curse 5 on the Whispering Grove. That allowed us to actually unlock, and I didn't know it, but it allowed us to unlock ourselves the Pestilence, which is to defeat curse 2 on the Whispering Grove. A very strong early game skill, especially since it stacks poison and deals damage based on the amount of poison. However, I don't really like it because it's chain and you can't really choose which enemies it hits. But besides that being the point, today we're actually going to go and unlock another skill that I was looking to use on the Houndmaster. It's this one over here, so it's Spread Shot. We need to win a match with all tiers up enabled on the Frozen Wastelands, and I'm actually going to be doing it on the Sentinel. The Sentinel will be level 1, which is fine. Got to unlock them. So we've unlocked the Sentinel, we unlock the skill for everyone to use now, and we are going to just add ourselves Weapon Expert, and we can actually add Critical Mastery and Sure-Footed onto the Sentinel, because we are going to get a lot of critical strike chance on them and critical damage just because of the skills that you get with the Sentinel. So anyway, we're going to do the Frozen Wastelands quickly. Curses are Lifeless Void, Reckless Goblins, Captains of the Void, and Revenge of the Void. And let's just quickly do that one. It should be like a short, about 7-minute run, which will unlock a couple of things for us, because we have to get an 8-minute run or less on the Sentinel. You'll also notice that there were shining platforms over there. When we get higher curses, we will do those events on different characters for you guys, so you can see how they are done. They are secret events, so if you've done them, that's great. The highest curse intensity you need to do them on is 24. It used to be 36 back in the day, but then the curses got changed slightly. But yeah, very, very interesting little events. Quite easy to do if you understand kiting and just moving the bosses away, and also if you want, or if you find that you're defeating the bosses too easily on that area, what you can do is actually use manual aim and aim away from the bosses and stand just out of the range of the circle and force the bosses into the circle that way. But you know, we'll get to that and how all of that works from there. So we've unlocked poison. We're going to just use it this round because why not? It's so strong. Grab ourselves an additional legendary damage over there. What's nice about the increased legendary damage is it does two things for us. One, it increases the base damage of all of our skills, but it also increases the poison damage done by poison itself. So now this skill only applies poison. It doesn't actually do direct damage. And that poison number got increased, which means that they're going to be taking additional poison damage, which is great. Increased area of effect, frag shot and pestilence. So over here in yesterday's episode, I mentioned it would have been nice to have a lock. This is a very good example of it. So I want pestilence, so we push C, or you can physically click the button. I use shortcuts, so you can see the shortcut buttons on the right hand side here. I push C, I lock pestilence, and now when I click frag shot, pestilence is going to be there for the next passive, see, as you can see. So now I don't need to go out looking for pestilence any further. It just helps us find it a lot quicker. We were lucky to find 2 skills that we were looking for, and pestilence was one of them. There it was. We landed up getting it. It worked out perfectly well for us. So that's why locks are quite important. That's why we put them in the skill tree. By the way, I have not added anything to the skill tree since the last video. We will do that again at the end of this video, just because there are some things that I'm looking to purchase still from there, and we need to obviously get more enemy Soulstones, so we need to just do that. But I wanted Spread Shot first because we're going to use a Houndmaster build that's going to use Spread Shot as well. Oh wait, he actually has Ice Vortex. I didn't even know that. Alright, Sentinel's actually got some very powerful skills that we can use, so that's really cool. We're going to go block over here just because you can see we are taking quite a bit of damage. Crit, very, very good for us. Magnetic is beautiful. I'm going to replace Shoot and Rain of Arrows probably, but we'll see. Yeah, we will, but it's still going to be with projectile skills, so we might take a Build Ballista and Storm of Arrows. because there are Storm of Arrows is amazing for proccing poison, and since we are getting poison on hits, it's going to help us a lot. Area of effect of projectiles isn't that helpful, so we're just going to grab a magnetic. Magnetic increases the amount of XP we gain, also increases our pickup radius, so it makes it easier for us to level up. Okay, there's Storm of Arrows, so we're going to replace Rain of Arrows. And the only reason we're replacing it is, as you can see, we've only got 19 stacks of aptitude. It just isn't enough damage for Rain of Arrows to feel good. The only caveat is I believe Rain of Arrows actually has a stun in it, or it used to. It might not anymore. No, it doesn't. It used to back in the day, so it used to be pretty decent, but not... I mean, it's still good, but not as good as it used to be. Alright, critical strike chance, critical damage, just more poison. And then, because Pestilence deals damage based on the stacks of poison that we have, we need to stack as much poison on the enemies as possible. So we're not worried necessarily about the poison itself doing damage. We're worried about how much damage or how many poison stacks we can apply on the enemy at any given time or point. So the more of these that we have, don't necessarily worry about the amount of damage it does. Worry about the amount that you have in your inventory. So we've got 5 of them. We want a whole lot more, because the more we have, the more stacks of poison the enemy's going to have applied to them as soon as you actually apply poison via the venomous passive. Alright, we get some multicast is going to be good. Yeah, it no longer stuns. That's so sad. Okay, critical hit chance is good. Damage on our Pestilence, of course, is fantastic because that's going to increase the baseline damage of your poison damage. So damage per stack is going to go up. Area of effect for Acid Rain, if you want to play with it. You don't need to use Acid Rain, but it does have a very good poison application. So it applies poison really, really well because of its area of effect. Unfortunately, you can't see it in this map, but there you go. You kind of see those blue. Let me move to an area where you can see the blue. So if we aim there, that's all Acid Rain. So those blue circles overlap and therefore apply multiple stacks of poison at all times. So Acid Rain is a very good application applier, kind of like the skills, like the aura skills like Combustion, or any skill that's got a really low cooldown and also hits multiple times is very, very good with that. And aura skills, when you multicast with them, and because they hit every 0 point whatever seconds, depending on the skill, they're actually very, very strong at applying that. Like Storm of Arrows, you shoot out 50 projectiles. So very strong at applying dots to opponents. So if you want to play dot builds, you need to keep that in mind as well. That you need a skill that's going to apply those dots pretty well. So over here, we're actually going to remove Poison Bolt. Not because it's bad, but because over here, even though it's got a higher cooldown, it does apply weakness. Weakness increases the damage received from negative effects, which means our poison will be doing more damage. We don't necessarily need it to do more damage because this doesn't stack with damage, but it's still going to be extra damage that we otherwise didn't have on enemies. So it's just really good for bosses. Since we're running poison, you might as well make the poison do damage. Okay, more lethality. We are now on 61% critical strike chance. Remember, we are using the critical strike rune, so 25% of that is going to critical damage. Just got to make sure we move out of all the red circles. And as soon, I'm going to show you something when we fight the final boss. It's something I did while I was doing the higher curses, and we'll do it again because we are probably going to use a poison build again. Although I do like the fact of using an ice stacking ice vortex build for this, and I did want to get to a higher level sentinel anyway because they're just very strong. So we'll see how many prestige levels we get over here. Otherwise we might change that. Cast frequency, yep, 8.1 seconds is way too high, so we're going to drop that. And I'm going to lock the damage and the multicast. We want both of those. Ooh, we got a venomous there, but the damage is going to be very good. Okay, even more critical strike chance. That's perfect. I did say it was 25%, so let's just work that out. 10% would be 7, so 14. And then 5% of 7 is 3, so it's about 17, 18% additional additional crit multi, which I mean you can get from one passive, but as soon as you start adding form into builds and things like that, it becomes very, very strong. So some characters it works a little bit better, but you know, it's a rune that we kind of unlocked, so let's use it. Why not? Alright, we can actually skip active skills. I don't think there's anything more that we want. Get some movement speed and more poison. And then the funny thing is, look, the boss has a full green bar. So we can kind of just run away from the boss now. Now there is a little bit of a caveat to that. You need to have a certain amount of stacks, because the stacks only last for a certain amount of time. I believe it's something like 15 seconds. Yeah, so 15 seconds. After 15 seconds, if you haven't continuously hit the boss, you'll notice the green bar starts to become red again. There are cases where sometimes it gets a little bit wonky, and you'll be doing negative effects to the bosses, and you'll see their life going up and down, up and down, up and down. That's just because you're losing stacks of whatever negative effect you're applying to that enemy. So if you've ever had that happen to you, where you've had a poison build and you've poisoned the boss, you've seen their whole life bar go green, and then sometimes the green starts to disappear, or it starts going like red, green, red, green, red, green. It's because you keep applying new stacks of poison, and the old stacks are actually not as powerful. I mean, the new stacks aren't as powerful as the old stacks that you applied, so therefore there's less actual damage or poison damage on the boss. So it's kind of weird, but it takes like 15 seconds, so a lot of the time you probably won't land up seeing that, but it is possible to see, which is quite funny. Alright, multicast on all of our projectile skills. That's perfect. I mean, we could have replaced shoot, actually, because it does not pierce enemies. But we're going to unlock a skill that will replace shoot in the future if we play projectile builds. And that's why we're doing this. Ooh. This actually took us a lot longer than we wanted. I did say I don't really fancy Pestilence. I mean, it is strong, but because of the way that it works, only hitting 5 enemies and not being able to control which enemies it hits, as you can see, it's not particularly fast. But that's okay. I'm going to show you another build. So we did 12 minutes. We got skill mastery projectile, which is what we wanted regardless, but we still need to do an 8-minute run regardless. Oh, I mean, we've already done one. I think you only needed one. We'll double check just in case. But there we go. We unlocked spread shot. Fantastic. We got ourselves some levels. Perfect. And now we're actually going to... I was going to originally do another Houndmaster build, but we can do another Sentinel build actually. But what we're going to do is we're going to level up the bottom of this tree, max it out. And then we can move to our more of this. We can't do that one, so we have to move to a little bit of more defenses. So we can finish the block power there, and we can actually grab ourselves more locks and finish off the HP over there as well. So there we go. Grab that. And we actually also won boss off of another rune slot as well, which is fantastic. I don't think these are going to use yellows to get upgraded, but because we need some more blues, reds, we actually need 7 of them. What we're going to do is we're going to take our Sentinel, who by the way has runes for us to unlock still. Let's just see if it now says Sentinel on any of these. Time wise, reach level 60 with Sentinel, prestige level 60, reach level 30 with the Sentinel, sorry, prestige level 30. Complete a match. Okay, so it's only 12 minutes with each character, so we got that, which is fine. And then the 8-minute one is only once to unlock the rune, so we don't have to worry about doing it on every single character, which is perfect for us. So there we go, that's perfect. What we're going to do is we're going to do the curses. Let's just quickly go over what curses we need to do. So for me personally, we stay away from Warlords of the Void unless you have a character that really strong and has Shattered in their build. Try and stay away from Warlords of the Void and Captains of the Void. Over here, you have to take one of them. So we take Captains, so elites are more dangerous, which is perfectly fine. Over here, we stay away from Lifeless Void because we want to be able to heal. And then we stay away from the Captains of the Void again. They're still going to gain increases to their health, damage, and cast frequency because of Clone Army. However, it increases the amount of elite enemies. If you didn't know, elite enemies actually drop more prestige and minus Soulstones than regular enemies. So having more elites in your run is far beneficial to not having them. So Clone Army is a very important curse to have every single time. And then we also run Unholy Reinforcements so that elites spawn more frequently. Especially if you're doing something like Overlord Cycles, you want to be able to have more elite spawning so you can finish it faster. Over here we take House of the Lords and Council of the Lords so that we have more bosses and they spawn at the same time. And then we want elites to spawn more frequently. We then grab House of the Lords and Council of the Lords again with Revenge of the Void. I actually don't know why we have that one. Oh, it's because we only need +1. So, you know, for once we'll just take ourselves a little bit of, you know, meteors. It's a 4% chance of it happening. That's really low. But, you know, you defeat a lot of enemies, you will see them every now and then. We don't take Pillars of Despair because they just make a lot of mess on the field. And it's not really necessary. I mean, if you want to play Max Curse, add it on. It's just an extra layer of difficulty. Same with Pillars of Protection that actually make enemies receive less damage, multiplicative, and you can have multiple of these on there. So if you don't destroy them, the bosses and that can actually become completely immune. So we don't want that. We go House of Lords, Curse of Lords, Council of Lords, and Clone Army, and we'll do the same thing for 6 and 7. But we've only got up to Curse 5. Let's go and do it. We are doing it on the Sentinel. This time we're going to do it on an Ice build, just because it's going to be that much stronger. But now we can actually see the Rain of Arrows occurring. Also on this map, which we will be playing again in the future for a different reason. But there's actually something very important in this map that we'll talk about in a future video. It's probably tomorrow that we'll end up doing it. There is a skill on here that you can unlock that is one of the most powerful skills in the game. At least for the early game until you start. But actually, I mean, if you've watched videos of mine previously, past videos, you'll notice when I am doing like heavy Overlord runs and things like that, and as soon as the character can use the skill, which most characters can use, it gets used in those skills. So that's a very, very strong skill. We're going to run Acid Rain again because, like we mentioned earlier, it is a very good applicator of debuffs. So even though it is poison, we are going to be running ice, but that extra poison or that extra applicator for the ice is going to help us a lot. So that's going to be good. We're going to run our I'm grabbing movement speed actually quite early, and you'll find out why. Frostbolt, that's going to provide us with Icy Veins, which is pretty strong in the very beginning. I'll put them down in the description, the amount of damage all these effects, Icy Veins, Radiance, Purity, and those types of negative effects, or I mean positive effects, I don't know what you would want to call them, but those effects actually have damage numbers tied to them as a base number, and they are very, very strong. So it's Electrified, which we did before with the Barbarian, but we'll put it there again. It's Icy Veins, Electrified, Purity, and Radiance.
You walk in like you own the place. Cute.
We don't want Shadow Spark. We'll grab Poison Puddle for now, and a massive increase over there. This is going to be a pretty difficult boss fight in the beginning, just because of the amount of damage we don't have. Although if they stick together, then the poison's going to tick quite well on them. So something very easy to do when you're fighting bosses is to run in a single, like a circle, a direction. Pick a direction and run in it. When you see the negative effects on the floor from the bosses, just dash if you have, or you can just run. In this case, we need to dash. Sometimes moving out of the corner can be very good as well. You sometimes don't really want to be in those corners either, so you want to try and move out of them just for your own safety. Over here, we are going to take spread shot instead of shoot and rain of arrows. We could take split shot as well. It's very good, very high aptitude gain, and also very good dazed gain. But actually, instead of poison, or even instead of frost bolts, because we've now got the Ice Vortex, and we did pick up a slow, so we could grab these. I'm going to lock them. Take this instead of that.
Stronger, faster, deadlier.
And this should help us. And then we've got spread shot as well instead of shoot, which is going to help us with more dazed as well. It also has a lower, I think it has a lower cooldown. But there we go, first boss is down. Second boss is down. And there we go, fourth boss down. So now all the negative effects are moving. The reason we moved to this corner instead of my usual left-hand side corner is actually because of there's an event that occurs in that corner that we don't really want to worry about. Over here, we're going to take the frag shot. Yeah, let's take frag shot instead of poison puddle. And we've actually now got a lot more like poison, ice chance. So these have decently low cooldowns. A 0.9 second cooldown. A damage increase for everything but our slow. I actually want the magnetic as well, so we're going to grab that.
I feel it already.
And remember, we're just using acid rain for the, as you can see, the ice application. Although if we find ourselves the storm of arrows, we'll take that instead. Alright, increase our movement speed even further. You can see how helpful it was against the bosses. Now this isn't the fastest build, but it is definitely a very strong build nonetheless. Okay, we can grab one more venomous, more slow. Let's just reroll once or twice. Okay, we're not getting what we're looking for. Grab some armor, more slow, and more movement speed. Getting area of effect will be very strong as well, because Ice Vortex is going to deal a lot of damage, so area of effect is going to help that. There we go, perfect. Just speaking about it and we get what we're looking for. Oh, another one. So now we just got to hope that they land on the ice effect. Okay, we're in a very bad spot right there. Luckily we had a couple of dodges. Okay, this corner is very dangerous, but we should be fine. Don't want to get hit by that when it returns. Try and get everything to target the bosses. There we go, they've started to take increased damage. Our slow application is not good enough right now. Actually, it's not that bad. I was looking at the dazed. Alright, cast frequencies are very good for us. Let's see what else. We're still waiting for Storm of Arrows. Damage increase is good. Area of effect. Damage increase for this. This is much higher though. This is 30%. This will be 16 times 3. So 36%. 42%, sorry. No. Math is hard, okay? 32... 48%. Much better. Okay, there's Storm of Arrows. We're going to run that instead. Because now we don't necessarily need to worry about nature. What we worry about now is projectile to us. %128% increased damage, by the way.
Just at the right time.
Okay, the mushroom enemies do leave poison puddles on them once you defeat them. So you do have to be careful of that. We can now skip active skills We can grab a skill chain over here as well as the area of effect. If we had more magnetics, we'd be leveling up a little bit faster as well. Three more sets of bosses. Okay, cast frequency.
Big targets make easy hits, beast.
Sometimes standing still until the very last moment can be very good. So like in this case, there was no negative effect around us. We could stand still for a couple of seconds. So what you do is you just stand still for those couple of seconds. You make sure that you get the Ice Vortex to appear below the boss, and then you can quickly dash away. It's especially easy with the Sentinel since we have multiple dashes already. But moments like these are why we actually have the increased life, or the life, the death protection, sorry. Alright, just the prophetess. There's a good example of the red reappearing. Cast frequency and more slow. We do need more area of effect on our skills, unfortunately, because we just don't have enough of it. Also, multicast chance would be fantastic, but we haven't really been seeing much of that, so it's not working as well as we would hope. As a beginner build, this is actually not that friendly, unfortunately, but that's a good show to show you that through just dodging around a bit, you can actually finish what you need to finish. There's some multicast.
Dark gifts.
We literally only have that 4% multicast chance. That's horrendous. Let's try see. Okay, we'll go projectile to us again.
All right. Show me why you're worth a Soulstone.
Show me why you're worth a Soulstone. Okay, we're actually in a good position with the bosses over here, because we're able to get quite close to them, so the Ice Vortex is hitting them more often. You can see by the amount of damage we're doing that we're actually in a much better position. And it's just the one left over here. And there we go. So only one more round to go. We should be fine. Get ourselves more ice, more crit. And we're actually going to sit in this area some more, just because it seemed like it was a pretty fast way to defeat the bosses. So now that I know that we can sit here and defeat the bosses a lot quicker, we're going to stay in this area, because that's going to obviously make it a little bit, it kind of dictates where the bosses will spawn, if that makes sense. So if I sit here, the bosses are going to spawn in this area. By sitting here, we're going to make them spawn a little bit more in this area. Just got to make sure we dodge all these enemy attacks though. Some enemies, if you defeat them while they're casting their spell, the red circle actually disappears, while others that doesn't quite happen. We got 53% crit. That does mean we should start seeing some poison to crit, poison on crit, or ice application on crit as well, or slow. Sorry, not ice. So your crits may apply slow, they may apply poison. Poisoned Doom, no. We're going to grab the multicast over there. 8% increase, that's good. Try and get as much of it as possible, because we're very soon going to be fighting those other bosses. Okay, we get a multicast over here. That's going to be times by 4, so that's about 50, what's that, 64%? Yeah, 64%, so that was a massive win for us there. Alright, manipulating boss spawns, or at least trying to. It really also depends on which bosses you get. Hahaha. the ice boss nearly got one tapped. As we increase the amount of time we spend inside the realm, so if we had to go into an overlord cycle right now, we would be able to get much stronger. But there we go, we actually achieved a flamethrower, which is also very strong in applying negative effects. So we'll definitely play a negative effect build on the Houndmaster because he uses that skill as well. But there we go, we unlocked Sentinel Prestige level 20 as well, which is fantastic. That's actually what we wanted. Got a little bit further than that. Took us a little bit too long though, but it is what it is. Skill tree upgrades, we can now increase our area. Oh, we can't even do area of effect. Why is it showing we can? Oh, did we find a bug? No. Alright, we didn't get enough, but that's okay. What we did do is we can now change our build, so we can use different skills on the Sentinel. I don't believe we can use anything for the Houndmaster yet. Nope, we still got to do the caves and Scorching Valley. But yeah, that's that for today. Let me know what you guys thought about the curses and what you've been doing for them. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.